between screen-wide AoE potential of Blood Surge or beyond insane single-target damage of Bone Spear, capable of melting Echo of Lilith and Ward bosses alike, you'd think these builds are good enough to clear T100 comfortably. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Fear not, this build theory crafted by Ghazzy TV and utilized to achieve Ward vs Necromancer T100 clear by Naecabon was created with that goal in mind. Combining ridiculous defenses, borderline permanent immunity, solid damage and great scaling, exploding Shadow Mist Necromancer is astounding. Oh, and this subscribing thing is pretty dope. We'll be focusing on scaling 3 things: lucky hit chance, cooldown reduction, and damage to affected by shadow damage over time enemies. This build doesn't require any uniques, albeit these ones can be extremely beneficial to it. One unique, however, is strong and common enough to be worth putting in the build regardless. Howl from Below has a massive stat stick and the ability to make your corpse explosion less clunky. Moving on to the aspects, we'll be using the following. Aspect of Explosive Mist to trigger corpse explosions from the safety of Blood Mist and the bread and butter of this build. Aspect of Disobedience and Aspect of Shielding Storm to layer our defenses with extra armor and barriers. Ghostwalker Aspect, Blood-Soaked Aspect to improve our non-existing mobility and apply Shadow Dot. Blighted Aspect, Aspect of Ultimate Shadow and Aspect of Decay to scale our Shadow Dot effects. And lastly, Conceited Aspect to utilize our ability to generate barriers for a chunky multiplier. In combination, we're capable of scaling vast amounts of shadow damage over time, and through lucky hit chance and cooldown reduction, render our Blood Mist uptime close to permanent, as long as we're able to damage targets. As the main ability for this build, we'll be using Corpse Explosion to explode any pack standing in our way. We'll complement it with Blight for extra source of dot damage and ability to trigger Shadow Blight. Decrepify to allow us to reduce our active cooldowns through Abhorrent Node and reduce the strength of enemy mobs. Corpse Tendrils to allow us to group enemies and apply vulnerable status to them. Blood Mist to grant us near permanent immunity and explode all surrounding corpses through Aspect of Explosive Mist. Bone Storm as another powerhouse of stats through 15% damage reduction, 20% crit chance, and barrier generation. Keep in mind the endgame pushing variant used by Naecabon uses Reap over Blight, paired with Aspect of Might instead of Disobedience on Chest, and Disobedience instead of Blighted Aspect on Amulet. This will increase the tankiness of the build and allow for 35% damage reduction before you engage targets, and Black River over a rare wand with Conceited Aspect. The core concept of this build revolves around triggering all our defensive and offensive layers, as we engage the fight through Bone Storm, Decrepify, and Blight, grouping the enemies with Corpse Tendrils, then using Blood Mist to safely engage the pack and explode all surrounding corpses. Do subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed this mini guide, and with nothing else to add, Aranethius out.